What? You only seen Star Wars the one time?
Only
Weirdo.
seen Rise of Skywalker once.
Really? I watched it twice just to make sure I didn't like it.
Do I have it? I think I bought
Well,
it.
I liked it.
I think I bought it.
You did?
Yeah, I own it.
I watched it twice. I mean, like the first time I seen it, I was like, "Oh, that was a pretty good movie." But then when I thought about it more, I was just like, it feels like they kind of just
Yeah, me too.
they just
Me
kind of
too.
like they just kind of did some things to rewrite the original shit and
It felt like a conversation between two directors.
Yeah,
And
it did.
It shouldn't feel like that.
No, it shouldn't. All right, everybody. Hey, this is a podcast a podcast for us, as well as a podcast for you, the wees out there. And I'm your host, K-Dog, Evil Maximus right over here, also known as Kevin and Eber. But we have call signs. One day we might not have call signs. We'll have actual signs, sign language, that is. Yeah, I'm just fucking my backgrounds. I like my Millennial Falcon.
Yeah, I like that one more. Millennium Falcon.
Falcon, because somebody says that. Somebody says Millennial Falcon, and I was like, it is because like I'm not a good listener, but if you say something out of the ordinary and like it's unique,
You're like, it doesn't sound right.
yeah, I'll remember that. So how you doing?
Doing great, man. I guess.
Ooh, I like
You
right.
know.
Oh yeah, hey man, we're getting closer to our new president. Today's was it January 19th, 2021. Inauguration's tomorrow.
Doing my best to not do any work tomorrow, but they gave me work to do tomorrow.
Well, I don't think not everyone follows politics. They don't give a fuck,
I made sure to watch Trump's inauguration 4 years ago. I don't know. I felt like, I didn't vote for the guy, obviously, but I mean, I don't know. I had hoped.
I'm not a watcher of inaugurations. That's not my thing. I think that light's just too bright.
Well, like for me, I mean, I knew I wanted to watch that vote on the 6th, right?
Yeah.
Just something just made me want to see that. I was like, this has never happened before. And then we watched something else that's never happened before. The siege on the Capitol.
Wait, those are two different things, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, I mean, it's not that I'm watching something to hope that things go sideways, but it's just history's history, and
oh, are you thinking some foul shit's gonna go down during his inauguration?
That's not what I said.
Oh no, well, I mean, I don't know. Hey, fuck, sky's limit and shit.
But there is a possibility, right?
Well, if you follow the news,
they already took some National Guard guys out.
Uh-huh. Yeah. They're also saying that there's been a chat on the encrypted alt-right sites, which didn't even know that was a thing. They have been talking about doing some shit.
A lot's come out, and the stupidest thing I've heard in the argument defending Trump is that, well, these guys were already inside the Capitol before he even finished giving his speech. So how could he have incited them with the speech if they were already planning the stuff from weeks in advance? And it's the balls on these guys to pretend that January 6th happened in a vacuum, that everything was perfect up until that point, and that nobody had said anything insightful about anything anywhere at any time.
All right, well, let's do this. So let's talk about this whole riot and Capitol shit then. Let's keep it there, because I wanted to go other places, but
I think we can. Let's dip
No. There's more in the tank for this. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. And I'm not as angry as I was then. I was really pissed.
Yeah, you pissed.
Yeah. So, all right. January 6th, fucking Trump starts doing his speech. He says, hey, let's go to the Capitol. I mean, he says other shit, but he says, let's go to the Capitol. And they impeach him for this. And because the result of saying, let's just go to the Capitol, even though I do think that even in his heart, I know he didn't want everybody to fucking riot the Cap. That was not in the cards. But it did. Just like if I said, let's hang these people, but I said it, I don't think they're actually going to hang these people. And they fucking do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they impeached him for inciting the violence, which they very well can. And the thing about inciting violence, okay, so you got the whole First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech and everything. And the big thing about that is you can't do that. You have that right forever.
Protected speech.
But when you say something that results in violence, and okay, so the articles for incitement of violence has to be specific.
Yeah.
However,
I don't think they nailed it.
Yeah, well, okay, so back in the day, in the 60s, I think it was, they go, let's hang this guy, right? So the mob goes in there and they hang a dude, right? And that's what happens. So they found a way. They went to Supreme Court, did all this shit, and said, all right, here's his precedents. Can't do this shit for now on. And so you specified this specific thing. So this is a new thing, right? For all time. This is new. There's never been a president to say, hey, let's go to the Capitol. Everyone understands the context. Everyone here understands the context. You know, he's not saying, let's go and fucking kill this one cop, shoot this one lady. You know what I mean? Let's not start a riot. That's not what he said, but he did say, let's go to the Capitol, resulting in the death of all these people and a guy tasing himself, which I want to get into. That's kind of funny. So they can impeach him on the basis of saying the incitement of the Capitol, but they have to define what he did. I think they got him on this one.
I think they needed to cite what he had been saying leading up to it and what he allowed people in his circle to say around him through news and other media outlets and not disavowing them.
Yeah, you know, that's the problem. The problem with murder, okay? So it's like you can't say
Charles Manson's in prison, dude. Charles Manson's in prison.
And chances are, if he was tried now, he probably wouldn't. Yeah, he died. He died in prison. Yeah, but I mean, I think if he was tried now with better lawyers, he probably wouldn't have happened. And there's some CIA involvement there, so who knows? I'm not here to hash out conspiracy theory. What I'm saying is this: they have him because he says the sentence, the shit happens, and okay, so like. Right? Well, okay, so if he was a normal guy saying, let's go to the Capitol and a riot ensues, I bet you couldn't get him on that. But because he's a normal guy, he doesn't have the influence of a country.
Right.
Like if you got Bob and say Bob has 50 million viewers, it's still not enough because he's just a character.
But the problem here is that he's not going before an impartial jury of his peers. It's all along political lines.
It's true.
So it's
but their heads might roll if they don't side on the right. I mean, they're next. You know what I mean? Like,
fuck, man.
You fight, you break the system, and that's what keeps people in line. That's what keeps people as slaves.
Well, here's the problem. Politicians have figured out people don't keep track of voting records. Lindsey Graham has flipped over and over again, and nobody's held him to account. He got reelected.
I hear you.
Said all this shit about Trump, then sucked up to Trump. You know, then he gets mobbed at an airport, and all of a sudden now he loves Trump again. And
I hear you.
Like they're realizing that voters don't give a shit. They give a shit about what you're saying today and how you can affect them today.
I've been saying that from the rooftops. I hear you. But what keeps people slaves is the fact that they have this thought that the system kind of works. And if this guy skates by, the people don't give a fuck about voting too much. They care about actual action. You think a bunch of podunk hillbilly hicks just, rioting the Capitol, they ended up murdering people by accident. I mean, this guy skates by, people put evidence. This is going to be like a fucking, I don't know, like the O.J. Simpson shit again. And like, people are like, what the fuck? He said it. This shit happened. The system doesn't work. Let's start a riot. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It'll be civil unrest. And they might have to kill this fucking guy just to calm the fucking people down. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I mean.
No, there's extremists out there, and I'll agree. I'll posit there's extremists on both sides, but
Mm-hmm.
how many extreme right conspiracies and plots have been shut down, and how many left-wing conspiracies and plots have been shut not there's
It only takes one highly motivated individual with high intellect to see that the system's not working, and that man, because he'll probably be a man, is out there and he's waiting for his moment, like to just break the system, burn it down. And whether it's virtuous or not virtuous, he will use that as an opportunity to do something. And so, like, if you have a guy, this is a catalyst. I mean, the system works a certain kind of way, and it gets fucked up a lot. We all know that. But this guy has pushed and pushed and pushed. And this time, dead to rights, man. Motherfucker said, let's go to the Capitol. I know, oops, but you are the president of America. So when you say something that's a little bit more, I know you don't want, I know people don't want to say that, but there's a lot of gravity to what the president says.
Yeah.
And let's go to the Capitol. And then that happens. I don't know. I mean, like, for me, he should be tried, for murder.
I think he bears responsibility. I think what he says. I mean, he already knows which way the people are leaning, and then he just keeps blowing them in that direction.
Mm-hmm. He fanned the fire.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, maybe you didn't start it. Maybe that was always there. That low socioeconomic, Southern unrest has probably always been there.
Well, yeah, because we've been ignoring him for so long.
But now he's weaponizing it. He took it and he turned it into something that he could run on, get elected on, and motivate and spur people to action. And you're responsible for that. You are responsible for that.
It's I mean, the reason you have a Donald Trump is because the Democrats, instead of looking out for like the poor and impoverished, there are actual people who vote and they're poor and impoverished and they've been ignored. And that's why they became more rock hard to be fucking racist, and you kept and like, that's who Democrats were supposed to be for, is those people as well. But it just seemed that they got more traction when they started talking about the minorities. And here you got you got Grandpa Pappy, who's been working the coal mines, and you just kept shitting on him. So he has 22 ancestral kids, because that's what they do. And they just all, yeah, Grandpa Pappy, and they all just got fucking rowdy and shit.
Well, it was one of those things where, like, it came out of the civil rights movement. Up until that point, the Democrats were along the South. Lyndon Johnson from the South chosen to run to bring in the South vote, for the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem was you run up against conservative values that taught people that racism was okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think they're not racist if they don't say the N-word or something like, oh, I'm not racist, I don't use the N-word, and I know black people. That's not what that doesn't mean you can't be racist. You can still be racist. It's defined by your attitudes and your choices, even if
it's a hard sell, isn't it?
Bias and all that. But the older values, from the South really kind of took over that aspect of the argument as far as like civil rights. And then, okay, if we extend rights to, colored people, then we also got extended to, gay people and trans people. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's too far for me. I'm getting off of this. I'm going to the other party. And that's how the Republicans became the conservative party, when really they used to be the progressive party. So,
well, I think that if there was more focus on economics versus social justice, you would have had a little bit more turnaround with them racists. Because, like, I mean, like, a lot of the racists that I know, they're fucking impoverished, and they talk about things that don't work. Why are you bitching about people taking jobs? That kind of thing. So you're talking about illegal immigrants taking jobs, and I'm like, you have 0 jobs, motherfucker has 3. And you're bitching about, but like, it's only because they ain't got no money. They have no focus.
There was a real argument that started coming out, I want to say late April. Why does everybody have to go through these COVID protocols and quarantines if it's mostly people of color that are getting it? And it was like, and I just saw this today where the argument was being made finally. I mean, I'm sure other people had made it, but I finally heard it on television. Look, minorities tend to be low socioeconomic, and so they have to work jobs where they can't stay in home, they can't work from home, and they can't afford to miss work, so they go to work and they get sick. That's why minorities were getting sick, not because they're genetically predisposed to get sick, but at the same time, it was like, okay, these people were using race last year to say, well, it shouldn't apply to us because we're not the ones that are getting sick. So while I agree, if we were to tackle the economic challenges, the problem is a lot of them are tied to people's color.
I know it's a weird thing, right? It's like a catch one. It's like I don't know, paradox,
chicken
because
and egg type deal.
yeah, because like I mean, if they had money and if people's needs were met, and I'm not talking about universal health care. I'm just talking about, like you're not having to. Okay, this lady I know, her kid's in the hospital, and she's at work, and she has to work because if she takes time off, she won't have money to pay her bills. And there should be something there in place of that. And you could, like our viewers who are out there, they could argue and scream to the heavens as they're jerking it to from some crop field yelling Trump's name. Hey, there's FMLA, there's this, there's that. No, bitch, there isn't. This is now. You need shit now. And there's nothing there for her. Like there should be an instant thing, like as soon as you go to the doctor and your kid's in the ER, you fill out a thing and you're getting paid because this lady's kid, I don't think he's going to die, but that's on the table, and she's at work and she gets the call like the kid's dead. I mean, that's the memory that you have for all time. Your kid died while you were having to work to pay your bills. Now, I'm not like boo-hoo. I'm just saying if we had fucking helped her economic, and she's black though, that's the thing. But they're out there. There's other people. There's white people too. They're fucking poor. Right. There should be something there in place to help these people in their time of need or in general. But we are getting caught up and it's weird. I do think, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but maybe that's a thing. We're supposed to always have slaves in some form or another, because like there should be no reason for someone to choose work over their kid.
I mean, it's, what is it called? It's the accumulation of wealth at the extremes, so
maybe
to have a lot of resources, more than you need, you got to take something from someone else. I mean,
that's true.
The billions of dollars that one person has could be spread out to make a lot of other people more comfortable.
But you wouldn't have a Steve Jobs. You wouldn't have Amazon.
Right.
So that's the price of admission.
Yes.
Do you want, because like name that famous person out of China. Name Steve Jobs of China. Doesn't exist. Name that person of Bezos in Russia. Doesn't exist. It won't ever exist because America created a system of diamonds.
And I'm not shitting on it either, because
I benefit.
We could fix some of that through tax laws, but again, like if I wanted to live in a totally equal world, I'd have to give up all the cool shit that I have too.
But even in America, though, to have equality for everyone, you wouldn't have the things that you have. So but you know what? Even the ideas of moving prosperity, not even away from the Bezos and stuff like that. So Bernie Sanders came up with the idea that kind of works. For every fucking, trade at the stock market, you get a half of a cent to the government, right? And that's like a lot of money. That's like $1 billion or some shit like that. Because if you ever look at the stock market, which I do, you have this thing called a volume, and that's how much a stock is traded, either bought or sold. But each one of those would be like, that'd be a half of a cent. And like there's stocks that go in the billions in trade.
Right.
And that's like what, 1 million? I don't know. I can't do math, but I mean, $1 billion should be 1 million. Well, not a million, maybe 500,000. I mean, like that, but that's just one stock. There's billions of stocks out there. So Bernie had that great idea, that socialistic pig that he is. And like, who do we voted for? We voted for Biden. Biden doesn't even give a shit about that. He's too busy fucking hiring transgender people to be some kind of chief of staff.
The problem this election cycle was, it was more about ideologies than
get rid of Trump. It was about get rid of Trump.
That was it, but again, like 100%. I said, ideologies. You have the Trump ideology and you have the anti-Trump ideology, not the ideas,
Yeah.
And there was a really good argument to be made that we should vote for somebody or put somebody in there that would have these progressive ideas. Because they thought this was going to be a gimme election. Turns out it wasn't. I know the election margin was pretty wide, but we were watching
7 million
for a while. Yeah, but again, the Electoral College kind of kept things close. The margins in the states that gave all those votes to Biden were pretty narrow. Was it 13 or 11,000 people in Georgia, 20,000 people in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. It sucks, man, because like I'm not a defender of Trump, but like as he goes out, this troll son bitch that comes out, he goes, I like his speech, the closing speech, like as every president, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do for a nation. Hey, we did good. This motherfucker, we have the best boats, we have the best walls, we have the best steaks. All lives matter. He says this.
He said it? I didn't get a chance to watch it today.
Oh, he did. He said it in a sentence. He goes, this matters, that matters, all lives matters, and all this matters, and all that.
Look at it.
He said that. And I was just like, the only reason you say all lives matters really is to oppose the ideology of Black Lives Matters. And that was such a bad branding to begin with. You know what I mean? Like they could have, if they just had as well at the end of it, I think like that's 90% of your arguments right there.
Or BLM too, Black Lives Matter too.
Yes. But when they said that then became a thing of Blue Lives Matters. And then it took away from the argument. It took away from everything that they wanted to do, because you're not even having a conversation about, is this right or wrong? You're having a conversation. What about white people?
And even when the riots were happening, we talked about it, that, it was going to take away from the message and give the other side something to say later down the road. And what happened after the they keep saying, these rioters, but they also rioted back. Get the fuck out of here. There's no comparison here. There's no comparison.
Yeah. The smartest people that I know that talk about that issue, the siege on the Capitol, they're like, it's like a fucking afterthought, and I knew this was going to happen. They're like, yeah, they attacked the Capitol, but Best Buy, no, they don't say Best Buy. I do that to fucking rub it in their face.
The strongest counterexample was, I think it was Portland, where they took over, like
a
2
city.
blocks.
Yeah, but
they took over the fucking city. They took
over the Capitol.
They didn't take over the Capitol. They took over 2 blocks.
No, what I'm saying is, like, you have all this shit, and then you have the Capitol.
Oh, right.
Capitol wins, and like I'm having these conversations with people, and it became it's instead of talking about what happened, we were talking about, well, if you're on the left, he's trying to fucking take over. He's trying to usurp
power.
Yeah, was it insurrection?
Yeah.
And then on the right, they just counter against they counter against what the fucking left says, and says, well, what about these rights? But we weren't talking about the fact that they sieged the Capitol, and because he said it. And I was just like, we're all talking about other things other than I swear to God, I wish they were riding over puppy mills or something like that, because the result's still the same. They should have all died. If you siege the Capitol, and then like you valid, and okay, this is what I wanted to get at about the siege. After the fact, the bleeding heart liberals come out and they get over dramatic about it. And the problem is they're right, but there's no heart there. Like they're like, oh, my life was in danger, and they just overdo it, right?
You talking about the people in the Capitol?
Yes. But they're right that their lives were in danger, because you don't fucking know. But the way they're going about it, it feels like they're seizing opportunity.
Yeah.
Because like this one lady started crying, and I was just like, I don't think she's crying. I think she's just seizing opportunity.
Was she Robert De Niro crying, or was she Mel Gibson crying? Because one is good.
It was Robert De Niro crying.
Yeah, then that's not
hardcore. Yeah. There was no Academy Award, because like AOC, everything. You know what bothers me? She said everything right, but it's like as if a demon took over or something like that. Because like she's right, everything she said was right, but it's disingenuous, and people could see through it. And then the right seizes opportunity to say, oh, she's just saying this and that, and it wasn't like that. You're being dramatic. And I'm like, but she's right. She is being dramatic, but she is right. And it's a fucking mess. Because people don't understand. You can't just take the Capitol like that.
Yeah. And I'm glad they're doing all the investigations into, who went where and why, and whether or not some of the people were getting shown around inside the Capitol ahead of time. That could be a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff. There's still new video coming out of that whole thing. I thought they were milling around. I didn't know they were rubbing shit on the walls, pissing in corners, and I didn't know that they were all posing for pictures up on the dais.
I knew that.
I had seen a couple, but there's one with like 10 people up there. Yeah. And then there's like a security guard, and they're like almost like begging them to leave. Some
people got their asses kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like,
but it's like that. That's how much they disregarded this dude. He's like, all right, guys, it's time to go. And they're like, oh no, yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. It's like they knew. Yeah. They had outnumbered the cops. They knew they were gonna get to do what they wanted to do, and it was basically like a challenge. Like, you ain't shit,
blue lives don't matter.
There's all kinds of audio too, we're doing this for you guys. You guys should be with us. We're
doing this for you.
Supporting Blue Lives Matter too, and
get the fuck out then.
So so that's proof right there that it was oppositional. Those other Lives Matter movements were oppositional. It was not like, oh, well, we also have something to say. No, it was something to say, but it was in direct opposition to BLM.
You know what though? You got the BLM, and they do their shit, and then it's like you fucked up some black people, so you really Black Lives Don't Matter. So that they do parody each other. So the reality,
I had hoped that they would resist the urge to say, if it was a bunch of black people going in there, they would have got shot.
They would have though.
That's legit, but man, you got to resist saying that, because then you just open it up again to let the other side talk about BLM.
I know.
If you just kept it to January 6, 2021, and the things that the president had done and said leading up to it to incite that, because it's not like they went into the Capitol in response to BLM. That's not what it was. They went in there because they felt that their nation was being robbed from them.
Yeah.
And it was politicians that were telling them, hey, this is being stolen. And then the people thinking, well, shit, I voted for this guy. I must, he must be telling me the truth. So we believe him. And then the same guy saying, look, all these people believe that it's not legit, so we should be investigating. Get the fuck out of here. It was like, what was it? It was a self-licking ice cream. I think that was the thing that came out of that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they try to play it off, and I hear what you're saying. It's hard to resist that, but that's a real thing. Okay,
it is.
I heard some fucking people say that shit too. They were like, there was a riot. Like, these are the people on the right. They're like, all you took from that interaction at the Capitol was, and this is the right. The right is saying this, is that, you know, if it was black people, you know, it would have been way worse. And you're not seeing the big picture. But they're not talking about what happened at the Capitol per se. They're kind of glossing over it, but they're glossing over I don't know, man. It's a fucking mess, because it is true though. I do in my gut feel if it was black people, it would have been a fucking massacre. Because they don't fucking care. Like, they defended Best Buy. I'm surprised they didn't defend the Capitol so violently, you know? I mean, fuck. It's a bit of a mess. But I wanted to talk about this. This is why President Trump is the best president our world has ever known.
The president?
The best president we've ever known. He's the breast president because he has them. There's two. No, look, he is the best because he showed us something that we had not known ever. He will go down in history. It will be for infamy, but he will go down in history.
So that's why I wouldn't say best. I think Lindsey Graham said it best, actually. Consequential. You know, he chose his word very carefully. You know, he will be somebody of consequence, and so will COVID-19. You know,
I would call him the best president ever, dude.
For kind of showing just how not forwards we are yet. That half of the country is still back there, intolerant. You know, intolerant and kind of just willing to go on that whole bandwagon mindset, like if Republican or Democrat was a football team, you know.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that.
I think it's more, well, the right, they're doing their thing, but it's also, you're trying to crush them, and you'll never will win your enemy over by crushing them. You know what I mean? Like, you turned a bunch of people, some hardworking people, into a bunch of ancestral hicks that don't know how to spell and shit like that. And that's pretty infuriating, right? And then you put them in a position where they could be made fun of outright, you know, without being persecuted or fired. You know what I mean? Like you can't make fun of a black person now like you can of a white person. And this is just the direct result of crushing the other side. The thing that should have happened was you protect them like you normally do with anybody, and you just dislike all that other shit that they do. Don't censor them, still talk about them. But they kept pushing and pushing and pushing in media, like your movies, TV shows, news, just casual conversations. And these people don't fucking like it. You alienated them.
It was too far of a swing in the other direction.
Yes.
It wasn't justice, it was revenge.
Exactly.
You know, it was like, you know, you made fun of our cultures for so long, and you propagated, you know, stereotypes with, you know, like the Chinese teeth and the glasses and the squinty eyes and or the black face or whatever, you know. Now we're gonna do the same thing back and marginalize them, you know.
Yeah.
Marginalize them and basically put them in a position where, and this is where the parallels to Nazi Germany, they are apt. They are apt. It's not extreme. I mean, I wouldn't say Trump is Hitler, but the thing is, you know, in that case, you have a lot of people suffering, and they don't have a good answer, and the government doesn't have a good answer. And you have somebody that says, I know who to blame and I know how to fix it. You know, no details really, except to say and inspire people and get people riled up about it. That's really the power of propaganda and the power of a mob mentality, and exploiting people's pain.
I fought against saying that like Trump's a Hitler, and he isn't.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
But You're right. I mean, the left pushed on that right so hard, so fucking fast for 8 fucking years. And then Trump comes along and is like, look.
Oh no, I think it's been longer than that, dude. I think it was people that were pushed to the edges, almost like that they were forgotten in the 60s during the civil rights movement. They felt that they were forgotten. That might not be true, you know. But again, it's like, okay, well, we have these things going for these people. What about us still? And I'm not talking about like white people, at large. I'm talking about the people that weren't able to get work, the people that weren't able to pursue that American dream. Or that felt that,
Yeah.
they felt like they were being left behind, and there were people along the way that were willing to push that idea to get power, and it became a reality. Even if it wasn't really a reality, it was a perception.
Yeah.
And that's 60 years.
It's like the cause
you can't fix something that happened over 60 years in 6 or 4 or 2.
No, that's true. No. You can never. Yeah, we had 200 years of fucking 400 years of hard knocks, slavery and shit like that, and then all of a sudden we got 60 years of, social justice and everything like that. Hey man, it takes a while to shift all that around. However, in the whole turmoil of shifting things around as fast as we have, you just alienated a bunch of other people, which is a majority of people, which, you got your white and then the randoms, the miscellaneous. They don't have a cause. Like I'm Filipino and I'm white. You know what I mean? There ain't no group that we're all getting together to fight for our common cause. And there's like more of me than there is of, I would say, black people, just miscellaneous people that don't have no cause. And then you got the white people, like they got no cause. There's no group fucking advocating their rights other than, KKK and, the extremes and shit.
And those come from fear. Yeah, those are coming from fear. Yeah.
So what's a girl to do? They're like, hey man, no one fucking loves us. Let's just be our own thing. And they all just glop together in anger. And then you have King Asshole rising. And they're just like, this sounds like some good shit. He sounds like he's saying some things to us. He's talking to us, the forgotten, and then for 4 fucking years, all we did was crush those people, fanning their flames. And, King Asshole's going to do what he's going to do. It's not like I don't even think he's trying to do anything, really. He's just doing what he does. Mm-hmm. And then they're just like, oh, yeah, our Lord and Master saying this shit. And then they fucking besiege the
what? I feel like Trump is somebody that's always in survival mode, just kind of doing what he has to do to get to the next day, and hold his that
is his philosophy.
It is. I think it's art of the deal. He talked about, like, hey man, if I can get through the day, and make a little money in that day, it's a win. Move on to the next day.
Yeah, he would eat babies. That mentality would eat babies. Oh, hey, he's starving. He's got a baby. He's going to eat it.
Well, he fucking ate the shit out of this American baby by trying to say that, the election was a fraud, and getting people riled up about it.
Talk about the height of greed. You know what I mean? As a person.
I don't think it's greed, though. I really don't. I really think he's in trouble. I think he's in trouble.
No.
He's beholden to somebody. We're going to find out about it. I don't know. That's my prediction. I don't know.
Nothing will happen. I'll tell you that. And we've argued this.
I don't think anything's going to happen either, but I think he's scared that
he's beholden to nobody.
I think he has less control over that now, though, because now it's next level beholding. It's like he was fucking around down here, and then he decided to fuck around up here a little bit, and now he's stuck there.
Some people, humans, I should say, get caught in the rhythm of their lives, and they can't get out of it. They just can't.
That's what I'm saying. He got caught in the rhythm of next level power.
No, yeah, I think it's
power guy.
Yeah, he couldn't get out of his own way, because there's guys out there right now that I know they're garbage, and there always will be. They don't mean to. This is the way they are. Him, talk about the height of greed. He's already won. Honestly, once you pass millions of dollars,
he was already good. He didn't have to be president,
but he kept on going, and now he's there. And there's what the fuck? I mean, that's just the way it is. But that's why I think he's the best president we've ever had. Because at one point you were like, "Yeah, Hillary's gonna win."
I was positive.
He proved that shit wrong. So
Yeah,
it means that voting kind of works.
I would say he's one of the best campaigners. And yeah,
Regardless, he
elected,
fucking won. Like up to that point, you could have argued that voting doesn't work in the sense of like if there's two party, I don't think it works. We've talked about this, but when you get to two, and that's it. Like you still think, it's probably gonna be the fucking Hillary.
Rigged. It's all Hillary.
It's all rigged.
Yeah,
but then he becomes president. You're like, what the fuck? Okay, all right. For 4 years, we're like,
even without the popular vote.
Yeah. And we're like, the Russians, they did it. They fucking did this collusion, all this shit. So you're still kind of holding on that this shit's still a rigged system. And then Biden wins. And you're just like, I don't understand. I guess the fucking voting shit works. I guess when you have the two parties, and they push a guy or a girl, then voting works. So, I mean, he showed that to me. And if nobody else could see that, they're fucking wrong. I think that, like, if you vote when you have the two parties, and that's the rig, you got to rig up that. I think that's the rig. It's like, you're going to have the two guys, and it's anyone's game. But before that, it's let's fuck this person over. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then they get their parties. And I have to say,
Clinton too. I mean, they screwed over Bernie Sanders during the Clinton campaign. And I think she was getting some of the questions and stuff too, leading up to the.
Oh yeah, they totally conspired and everything, but then nothing came of that. Nothing came of that. Yeah.
Well, a lot came out of that. I mean, she didn't get elected. You know.
Yeah, but most people
that came out and it made her look bad. That came out and made her look real. The Bernie Sanders stuff came out and made her look bad too.
Well, most people voted for Trump because coal mining and shit like
that.
The other
thing, it demotivated people that probably would have voted for Hillary. They're like, fuck it. I don't feel like actually running out to the polls to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and then also like they put doubt. Blood in the water. The sharks came to eat. I mean, but it worked. It fucking worked. Voting works. So, I mean, like, Trump illuminated that, just because of that. And also...
The Trump presidency illuminated that. Trump didn't do it on purpose. His presidency did.
For whatever you want to say, Trump did it.
I don't want to say he's the best president ever.
I know, but that's what we're calling this podcast.
To get clicks.
To get clicks. I want more comments. So, no, okay, so... He does that, right? And then he does a bunch of other things. He builds a fucking wall, maybe 10 feet.
Oh, he does it. Yeah, okay. 10 feet of it.
10 feet, but then he embellishes and says it's like the best wall ever. And then like, that's it. And then all these fucking people are like, he built a fucking wall. And then like, from day one, you knew he wasn't going to build a wall, because that wall was being built to begin with.
It was already, yeah.
Yeah. And so he says he's going to build a wall. He doesn't. Like there's proof and nobody gives a fuck, I mean, that's illuminated. That wasn't a thing. Usually when the president says they're going to do something, you blame them or you don't blame them. But for some fucking reason, he said he was going to do something. He didn't do it. And people fucking believed him. And even on the left, they believed him. They'll say shit. They'll cite it. They'll say he wanted to build a wall to break relations. He built this wall to break. He didn't build shit. And you're on the left. You should fucking know that. The right. He didn't build shit. You should know that. But for some fucking reason, he said a lie and people ate it. And so that's proof. That's fucking proof. That's proof that this is all fake. This is all fake, man. The president doesn't do anything. He just does it. So he's putting kids in cages and shit, but for some reason we give a shit now, but we didn't give a shit before. And that's a thing. That's an actual thing that happened. And nobody knew.
No.
I didn't know kids were being taken away from cages. I looked at it.
They were being taken away from their parents. But
yes.
Like the volume, because he said, okay, we're gonna like do 100% enforcement on this now. And they were like, we're not ready for that. And he's like, fucking do it anyways.
Yeah.
And they did it. And that whole shit's, I was surprised to find out that 2020, 3 years after this whole thing, there were still like 500 kids.
Yeah. But as apparently this has been happening. That's the thing. I didn't know any of this. I got the headline 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh, they're taking kids for fucking their parents, and I'm reading into it, and I'm like, wait, they've been doing this already? I did not even know that. If it wasn't for the fact that we had a Trump, we wouldn't have known this. Now, you can blame him,
before, but not at this level.
Doesn't matter. The fact that it happens, it doesn't care. I don't care if it's like
it's
one family. It
happens at every border.
It doesn't matter though. The fact that it's happening, didn't know. It's been happening. Didn't know, and it makes sense why. And so now with the window of time, we know. Well, let's figure this shit out, because it made sense, right? If you take the parents away for a crime because it's a crime, right?
Where do the kids go?
Where do the kids go? You can't put them in jail too. So that's what you do. You separate them. Oh, well, this doesn't look right. So what do we fucking do? So we should come up with shit. But instead of that, we demonized Trump. We did this, we did that. But, those kids are still not with their parents. And
demonizing Trump was what got them to stop doing that shit.
But there's still a problem.
It still happens, and it's still a problem. Yeah, it's still a problem, but it's not on a scale where it's like, oh shit, No,
it's like, okay, I'm killing babies, and then like I'm killing more babies, and they're like, okay, let's scale it back. We're still killing babies. It's still bad. It's still bad.
That's the same thing with COVID restrictions. Okay, then let's lower the COVID restrictions. Okay, we're killing more people. Okay, well then let's put more COVID restrictions on. Well, now we can't fucking keep our bars open.
Yeah, let's just stick to the.
I understand, but there's always a valve that you turn. How much of this do you want to happen? It's going to happen either way. You know? And saying killing babies is going to whoa, yeah, there's a visceral reaction to that, but it's still, how tight do you want the security? Do you want to tighten it up so much to where we're splitting kids off their parents? Every single case, it was every single case that was showing up at the border.
I know. But what should have happened was a discussion on why we're doing this. That wasn't happening. There was the right was actually discussing this, but only as in a rebuttal to Trump being a dick, right? They're like, this shit's been happening before, and the only reason that's happening is because of this, but they're glossing over the fact that it's happening.
It's happening, right?
And the left is like, we need to stop this shit, but they're going from a different angle. But no one's talking about the elephant in the room. What should we do about this?
Well, I mean,
we weren't.
And that's the problem. Trump criticized Obama for changing things with the pen, right? Presidential decrees and shit like that.
Yeah.
What should have happened was they should have gone to Congress to change the immigration laws.
Yes.
If they did want to shut it down, then you change the laws for people that come in trying to claim asylum. You change the asylum.
Long ago, about 3 years back, I came up with the thought, maybe now this is drastic, but that's how we do. That's how we do this. Open the border. Okay, let me finish. Let me explain. If you open the border, what could go wrong? Go. Give me the one thing that could go wrong. Go. Just give me one thing. And I'll show you how it's broken.
Everybody comes through, gets jobs, but there's no way to keep track of who's working where, and all of a sudden you're not.
But there's taxes for that.
There is and there isn't. I mean, you need a social security number to file a W-4.
However, if you're working, you could why not just assign them a fucking number, not a social security number, just a work visa number, which we already do, and they get taxed. That money then goes to the government. And get this, they can get a check back. That's a thing. It's already in place.
The problem is that money ends up leaving and going to other places.
But their money did go to, see, what America does is it takes your taxes and gets interest off of it. And then gives it back to you, but they've already made their money.
But the problem is the money comes from here and gets spent somewhere else. And you don't want that.
No. I'm Pedro. I make $100. The government takes their $10. That's what they do. They already do that.
Yes, but you need to look at macroeconomics. You need to look at which direction money is flowing in. That's why we have trade tariffs. If we want to slow down people buying stuff from overseas because we want people to buy in-house. We
But I'm
want
not
to
talking about
stuff.
that. I'm talking about a normal person working.
I
It's
understand.
taxed, and
I
they spend their
understand.
money here. That's what they do.
They're not going to spend their money here. They're going to spend it back in Mexico. And
Okay,
Mexico is going to end up getting our money.
but okay. So all right. You have the people working
It's
now.
a trade thing. It's more a trade thing than anything
No,
else.
you got people here now working, right? Our government is working as is. If more people come in and work, they would then pay the taxes. You're right. That money would not then go, not a lot of the money would go back to us, but we taxed them for it and we're good. Fuck it. We'll tax them even more. But who gives a fuck? At least they're there. We could diverse the fucking borders to work this shit out.
I say we take over Mexico.
That's a bad idea because with that, we would then have to, it's like, here's your body, right? And your body's going to take up something that's really weakened. And you're going to give all your body resources to this thing. Meanwhile, you could just make money off of it. So rather than take your resources, it's almost like a cancer. Now, yes, America could be the one to fucking give it the energy that it needs, but at what cost? And that's a rough gamble.
Opening the borders would be good for corporations.
I'm with it.
It would be bad for individuals. It would be bad for the country.
I don't think it'd be bad. I think that they would just run.
Because then the workforce goes way up. All of a sudden, the job market is more competitive. In other words, you need to work harder to get a job.
But you got minimum wage.
No, you don't understand. There's not enough jobs now for all the extra people that are coming in to get work here.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, all right.
That's the problem. And then the money that is being made is being sent somewhere else to be spent somewhere else because they're going to send that money back to their people in their villages and shit. Yes. Why? Because this shit happens right now. My master teacher still sends $500 a month back to the Philippines.
You're right. You're fucking right. Yeah, let's not open the borders. That was a bad idea. Sorry, guys. Sorry, team.
But again, it would be good for corporations because since there's so many people, you just pay a minimum wage. You don't need to pay anybody a competitive wage for anything anymore because people are going to be fighting hand over foot to get any job.
Yeah, opening the border would be a bad idea. Now that you've talked me out of it, I was wrong. I was just thinking one day, man, we should just open those borders. But you're fucking right, dude. No, but taking over Mexico, I don't think would work.
It's because you're right. More people working, you're collecting more taxes, but that's assuming that there's more jobs, and there won't be more jobs, at least not right away. And when have you ever known corporations to go backwards and say, hey, you know what? We don't need to be making this extra money. We're going to give that back to the consumer. Fuck no. Yeah. That shit doesn't happen. Look at cable bills. Yeah. Look at cell phone service. Look at gas prices. Shit. Gas prices only come down when demand is down. Man. They go up a little bit over the summer. They stay fucking high over the summer. They never come back down until the winter when people don't.
That's true. I remember it was $1 over here when COVID was in full swing. It was like $1. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was $1 and change when I started driving in California. It was like $1.
I know. I bitch when it's like $2.50.
Shit, it almost hit $4 the other day. I want to say
$4
right after the Capitol riots.
You know what? It was $4. I was there when it was $5. It actually reached $5.
I remember when it went over $4, but it was getting close to it again right after the riot.
Yeah, I don't know how to solve the economy. I just figured this out. You just blew my whole idea out. But anyways.
Hey, we're going to talk about this WandaVision?
Oh, shit. Good segue. All right, WandaVision. Let's talk about this fucking shit show. Hey, all right, hey. So when Adrian came up with the every 10 years, do you really think that's a thing?
I thought that's the first thing I thought because let me ask you this, Kevin, and it's not to judge you or to discredit you. It actually
wait. Pause. All right, hey, everybody, you don't know this, but me and Eber and a group of our friends, we really had it out on this show.
We did.
Yeah, okay. So I'm not gonna bury the lead. I fucking hated the show. Eber he's intrigued.
I am intrigued.
Go ahead, Ever. What were you gonna say?
So spoiler alert, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember watching a lot of these shows.
Me too.
I grew up
Yes.
on this shit, you know?
Okay.
So seeing, you know, like the multicam setup, right? And the way that they shot, because if you look at the shows back in the day, and I swear, I haven't watched any YouTube like, hey, you know, hidden message, and I haven't watched any of that shit. I'm watching it, I'm looking at the framing, I'm looking at the multicam setup that they're using, and I'm like, yeah, this is like straight out of the 50s, right? Then the second episode, that's going into the 60s. They're using the little cartoon intro and this and that, blah, 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 right? And then at the very end, they transition into color. So when Adrian said that, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought each one is going to be a reflection of the time, but in more ways than one. Not just, oh, that's what the shows look like, but also what the political climate was at that time. The end of the 60s was starting to come up with this skepticism of the system, right? Because that was where you started to have like, have we been being lied to about Vietnam? We've been in this shit for a long time now. The 70s, that's where you get into, you know, the whole betrayal of the government and this big shift, right? So I'm expecting episode 3 to
Big
really
70s.
be Wanda trying to figure out what the hell's going on, what the truth is. And the 80s, way more pessimistic, way darker, you know, grittier. And then, you know, if they go into the 90s, I don't think that they'll go into the 90s, but if they go into the 90s, then you'll get that whole, you know, the whole glow and optimism again, right? But, and I think this is why they released 2 episodes. When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? I don't know. Do you remember the episode of The Simpsons? There's an episode of The Simpsons, Itchy and Scratchy. They're on the way to the fireworks factory, and all kinds of other shit happens. And Milhouse is like, "When are we going to get to the fireworks? When are we getting to the point? What is this about?" You know, and it's sprinkled in that not all is what it seems.
Of course.
But The Matrix did it in about 15 minutes. You know,
Exactly.
10 or 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This one decided to spend 2 episodes, and we're still not
an
even
hour.
Yeah,
One
and
hour.
we're still not even there yet. But what I am interested in seeing, because I'm watching, I'm like, damn, she's like super bubbly. You know, what's her face?
Wanda.
Yeah, Wanda. I'm trying to remember the actress's name.
Oh,
I don't want
Olsen twins.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah.
She's really bubbly, and I don't think I've seen her in anything where she's this bubbly and this almost like in tune with what those characters were like back then.
Well, no, they're acting like personas on a TV show.
I get it.
That's not the character themselves. The only time she acts herself, and we both agree, is when Homeboy's choking.
Yes.
And she gets all serious. Vision, help him.
Help him. She looks right into the camera.
Even though she could have.
I have some big questions though, because she's from, you know, was it the Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah.
Did they grow up on this television?
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
I know there's a presence over there, but it's not the same that it is over here.
Well, Sokovia's fake.
I know, but it's supposed to be like an Eastern European country, right?
Do you know what? You can make an argument for that. That happened. There you go. They were watching TV back in the day.
Okay. So again, I'm intrigued. You know, you're seeing Wanda happy. Is she creating this reality? Is it being created for her? They're having Vision do computational stuff. So are they trying to tap into Vision's power through her? You know, did she absorb some of Vision's power when she destroyed him? But then again, when Thanos rolled back time, did he undo the power that she had given?
Yeah.
Way too many questions. I think.
Yeah, it's like, when did this happen?
And I'll end my critique here. I think they should have released the whole series at the same time, the way Netflix does, so that you can go ahead and just go through it, you know, and get to the point where you're kind of satiated, like, I get it. I get where they're going. I don't need to binge this anymore, because I'm not really left like cliffhanger, like, ooh, I wonder what happens next. I'm really more like
Mandalorian.
So where are they going? Mandalorian, good cliffhangers. Stranger Things, the first season, excellent fucking cliffhangers at the end of each. I ended the episode. I was like, "There's no fucking way I am not hitting play on the next 5 minutes of the next episode," and I ended up watching the next episode, right? And then I'm like, "God damn it, I gotta watch one more. I know I gotta work in 30 minutes, and I watched this shit all night. I gotta go through this." WandaVision didn't leave me like thirsting for next week, and I don't feel like it gave me enough to kind of chew over. You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll chew on it right now, but I really don't think so. I think you watch it once and you pretty much get it. She's in a show and we don't really know why.
My main complaint of this show was the fact that there was a lot more of the sitcom part than, like, say, adding parts to the story to progress the plot. They just kept it
in one episode.
Yeah, they kept it there. And I was like, man, dude, this writing is pretty stupid. Because I mean, they could have sprinkled it out there. Like, okay, for instance, Netflix has a show called Sabrina the Teenage Witch or some shit, right? And they did this one episode. They did where she went to an alternate reality where she's on a TV show, because it's a 90s TV show. Mm-hmm. So they brought back the characters. They did this whole thing. They didn't keep the entirety of the episode in that universe. And this is only 45 minutes. They just sprinkled it in through the episode. And so you have 30 minutes, and then you have another 30 minutes. And in both times, they kept it there. And I was like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, well, the second episode, because they released 2, I was thinking they'll bring it more into focus. They did it. And you have, how many episodes is slated, do you think? 12?
I hope not. I think that's too long.
Well, 12 is 6 hours. That's 6 episodes. I would say
8. I think 8.
8? I don't know. You're talking 4 hours?
I have been,
because Mandalorian's 10 episodes. That's 10 hours per season. And that's good.
No, Mandalorian was 35 minutes to 45 minutes.
No.
The longest one was like 52. But there's an episode that was 35 minutes. But I do get what you're saying, and I'm not gonna blame you, or I don't think you're wrong or anything like that. I think different people are gonna have different tolerances for get to the fucking point, right? But
it's not that not get to the point. I just see in this that there's I'm actually looking it up as we speak. How many episodes? Let me click on this. 9 episodes. Ooh. So 30 minutes a pop.
Here's the thing, though.
That's 4.5 hours.
Wanda's character is going to be in the Doctor Strange movie. Okay. There's also another character from the show that we're watching right now is also going to be in that movie.
I get it.
And
aside,
this show wasn't meant to bring us out of that 18-month hiatus of not having any fucking Marvel content whatsoever.
But that's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm judging it based on it.
But I think they were writing it thinking that they were going to have a little bit more patience, and I really would have preferred something more consequential. I would have preferred Falcon and Winter Soldier first.
Thor 2 is a 2-hour movie. Are we coming back to that movie anytime soon? No, we're not. Unless we're doing the whole gambit again. But reality is, you're just trying to get through that movie to get to 3. Or if you get,
you know what happened.
Yeah. But other than that, it's not a great movie. It just isn't.
That's the only reason I watched it again just to know. I was like, where were we? Okay.
Yeah. That's it. If that's your argument, that's what this show is. And so it sucks. It's a terrible show. If you're using it as a stepping stone, you did bad. You did bad, my friend. Now, if you could do 2 things at once, have a show, yes, and a stepping stone. It's not hard. It really isn't. But I think that there's a progressiveness in this that's going to take front and center. And you can kind of tell with Captain Marvel, right, how that went out. Because they could have made a better movie, but they didn't. They wanted to make a movie more for social justice than anything, and a stepping stone to introduce your character, and then maybe take the reins. Maybe. And so you got this show. And this show, same thing. I just feel like it's gonna go nowhere. They're gonna tease the big aha, but the big aha isn't that gonna be that good, you know? And
I think they're trying to start the power creep. You know, if she's able to create a reality, you know, and have people in it, because maybe it's not somebody doing it to her.
maybe she's doing it.
She's doing it. I honestly, I think
That'd
it's
be cool.
Strucker. I think it's Strucker, the scientist from Age
But
of
he's
Ultron.
dead.
Comic book dead.
You're right. You never see him die.
No, they say that he got killed, and there's
Yeah.
a picture of blood and shit. But
Which is a bad writing on Age of Ultron, by the way. I mean, you could have still did the you should have did that with the scene as opposed to exposition. You know,
Yeah.
oh, he's dead. You can't just do that. He was a main guy just a second ago, and now he's dead. Whatever.
dead. Yeah.
But I don't care. What I'm saying is, like, they spent like an entire hour getting nowhere, just seeding it in. And like an hour, I should at least know where we're going.
Right.
And if with 9 episodes, you're saying that there's 7 more episodes, they're going to fucking get to somewhere in 7 more episodes?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of have a sense
No, we
of
don't.
where they're going. It's there's a reality, and Wanda's in it, but she doesn't know she's in it. And it's almost like a dream, you know, and what's going to happen, shit, when she loses vision again, you know?
Well, to go.
Is she going to be the antagonist of Doctor Strange? Is she going to be the one to create a reality, and then Doctor Strange is like, he's the dude that has to defend reality?
You know, I don't care. All I care about is this show, in the sense of when we're talking about the show.
I get it, but I think this show is going to reestablish her powers from just moving things to creating realities.
But I'm not watching Thor 2 thinking, oh man, it's going to be so much better. I'm not ever coming back to it.
Yeah, we'll probably never come back to the show either.
Exactly. That's why this show sucks. I mean, like, that's it. They okay. Thor 2 has the excuse of being Thor 2 because they didn't have Endgame. You know what I mean?
And they didn't know what to do yet with Thor.
They don't. Here's the writing of Endgame, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor 2, Captain America, all that bullshit. They're not there. We're there now. So here you are at the show, and we're going back to Thor 2. I'm not movie-wise, but like that's the writing you're going back to. I mean, as of now, with the 2 episodes, I have come to a point where if I see something where it's kind of like, you're dragging it out, you're not going to be able to complete it.
Yeah, the pacing is off.
Yeah.
It's
well, no, I mean, you couldn't in like 1 hour get to a point. Like, I mean, you shouldn't be like, oh, and then next week we'll figure it out. I mean, next week maybe we will. You know, I shat on this show, and then there's shows that I watched that took like 5 episodes to get to where it needed to be. But they had the precursor of the other shows to get to that point. Now there was no one. That's not one. This is not WandaVision 2. This is WandaVision 1.
No, but this is you know what? Marvel is not. The characters are not siloed anymore in their own little franchises. They're part of.
Shit, you not. You watch Iron Man 3 and you have never watched any of the Iron Mans, you'd enjoy the movie. I'm just saying, it's that good. The writing's solid. Iron Man 2, you really could kind of just watch that movie if you erase your memory. You just have, those are just really well done. Thor 2 is a bad movie. Even if you haven't watched any of them, Thor 2 is terrible.
I really think WandaVision is leaning hard on what we saw.
Exactly.
You're right.
It's lazy.
I'll give you that. It's not self-encapsulating, you know, because they're not.
And it can be.
Well, and the primers. I texted you about the primers that they released for Wanda and Vision. So each character got its own little primer, their backstory, right? So you watch those to figure out where they came from. And then they released 2 episodes. I think that they created the show and then they realized, fuck, it's not self-contained.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that would work on its own, like most of our shit is.
It is. Yeah. Like Guardians of the
Even
Galaxy.
Endgame. Even if you just watch Endgame without Infinity War, you still know what happened in Infinity War.
And
Either
vice
through
versa.
exposition or through Ant-Man coming out and like
Exactly.
it would
Fucking
almost be
exactly.
fun. It would almost be fun to show somebody Endgame without having shown them Infinity War.
They would still enjoy it.
Yeah,
They would
yeah,
understand the story beats.
but like I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like, what would that have been like if they had released Endgame before Infinity War? It's like, dude, what the fuck happened? Oh, I gotta see what happened, you know. And then
Yeah.
it's a good, and then what a prequel should be, you know, really good.
Yeah. And Infinity War is good, though. It really is. Even if it came after, I would have enjoyed it still equally, if not more. And I'm not saying it's better than the other. I'm just saying like those movies are so well done. Whatever you watched second will still
And
be
they're
good.
different movies. They're very different movies.
Different movies, yeah. No, but they had a chance in this show, especially with reality warping. They had a free ticket to the freedom of whatever they wanted.
I think these first 2 episodes should have been compressed into one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
where we got to at the end of the second episode is where we should have gotten at the end of the first episode, where something's off and she rewinds it and she says, "No, fuck this, no." And then you're like, what's going on?
If this was one episode, I think I give it more. I would forgive it more because I'm like, oh well, that's the first episode.
And I think they realized it. I think that's why they released 2 episodes in week 1. You know, and the primers, because the primers are just edits. They're almost like fan edits. You know, you watch, you're like, this could have been a fan edit. You know, I think they realized it after they finished it.
And I have to say, if they did that, I'm telling you, the writing's not going to be good. It just won't be. And like when I notice. How I know that it's gonna suck is when people fight really hard, tooth and nail, to make something that is not good. Like Wonder Woman 1984, you see a lot of fucking backflips to make this movie okay. It's not even okay.
They might have released this first also because that's probably the weakest of what they have coming up.
Of course, the Winter Soldier and Falcon's gonna be way better, dude. Look at that shit. Did you see the trailer?
No, yeah, I have seen the trailer.
It's way better. That's a trailer. At least with this one, I actually was looking forward to WandaVision because it felt like it's gonna be more story driven, and then you wasted an entire hour over nothing. You know. Well, in fact, that second episode would have worked.
I think it's going to be the weakest one. I think I think they knew it, but they said, fuck it. We already have a Marvel fan base built in. We're not going to lose them on one show. And if anything, we'll get them back. Now, if we go high and then we go low, they're going to think, well, what the fuck, you know? So let's ramp it up. You know, let's start them low and then really just take them up.
I would have been happier if I saw the showrunner being like, someone like a Favreau or one of the brothers or is this somebody attached to Marvel, you know? But I didn't see any of that. I didn't. I saw the credits and I was like, who the fuck are all these people? And I'm like wait, you took a property that's not even popular, and like I saw a nerd defend this shit on Facebook. He defended.
I think it's going to be a filler. That's only purpose is to explain her powers,
so that they could bring in the mutants.
Maybe
because you need her, you know, to have some of the greatest storytelling ever. And a lot of people are talking about that like this is a thing where they're gonna, you know, bring House of M, which would be fucking dope. This looks good. This looks good. I don't have that other glove, but it just looks good.
It's gonna take my shit.
Anyways, I'm in Eber's house. It's more illuminated. Hate to tell you. Sucks to be him. No, but yeah, I just thought, you know, they don't have the writing chops. There's no one attached to it, and they didn't give a shit. They just like threw it out there, and that's what we have. And like, we're gonna have like fucking 7 more episodes of this shit.
I'm probably gonna wait 2 more episodes and then I'll start watching YouTube, you know, videos about it.
Yeah, you know what's weird? I haven't watched YouTube. I have, like, I can see that you're not, because you're more reserved than I am. I am an addict. So, but like even I didn't have the fucking energy to look at a YouTube video. I just did it.
I mean, I like cruising on YouTube for like, theories and stuff like that. Tenet was one that I got home and I started watching shit. I was
I
like,
went deep too. I went deep. I went fucking deep, and then I stopped. I went the distance, and I was like, you know what's a good time travel movie? It came out recently. It has the Falcon in it. Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. It's called Synchronicity. You should watch it. It's pretty good.
I feel like I've heard of that
movie. It just came out. So, however you get movies, it's good. It's a self-contained story, very artsy fartsy at first, and I'm like, uh-oh, and I had that itch in my head. I was like, uh-oh, they're getting too artsy fartsy. They're not explaining shit, but then he starts doing the explanation of shit, and I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm in. You got me back. And then it has a story. It's really good. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's pretty good. Fucking oh, you don't watch Attack of Titan, do you?
No.
You need to
I gotta
get
back
that.
on that.
No, you need
shit. I think I finished the second season, started on the third one, and just didn't.
Oof. You should.
I need to get back on that.
That
I watched Master and Commander again.
Hey, what? Hey, I've been wanting to watch that lately.
I've been itching like for the past week, dude. I was like, I need to watch.
Well, that's fucking weird. No, seriously, today I was getting that itch. I was like, man, I really want to watch Master and Commander. And like, I think because someone was bashing it, and I'm like, that's a pretty good movie. I went to theater to watch it too. And I was just like, this was that's a pretty good movie. And I was just like, oh, I got to watch that movie again. And then you just brought it up just now. And I'm like, oh, that's weird.
It's weird. Every time I watch it, I like it even more. I want to say I've watched it maybe 4 or 5 times at this point.
Well, because it's back when they made movies good.
Yeah. I'm sad though, because Fox was looking like they were going to do a 4K release. Then they got bought by Disney, and Disney shut it down. So there's no 4K release. I watched it on Amazon Prime. It's the DVD version. And the Blu-ray version, I found one on Amazon, but it looks kind of shoddy. Like it looks
like Abyss. It's weird when like a movie that has great visuals, like I'm talking like 4-star visuals.
I want Abyss, dude. I want Abyss.
Is still DVD.
There isn't even a Blu-ray of the Abyss.
No, I know. Hey, I looked. It's on Amazon Prime.
Oh, dude, I sat down with my girlfriend to watch it. Oh, you've never seen The Abyss? Let's watch The Abyss. It said HD. I'm like, sick. We're gonna watch it. It's in HD. Wow.
It said that?
It says it, and then it's cropped.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, it's gonna shift. It didn't shift. I stopped. You know what? Dude. I said, we're not watching.
It's aggravating, right? Because you watch Predator in 4K, and it's pretty fucking good. And I'm like, wait a minute, that movie was in the 70s or 80s. And like you couldn't get Abyss to, like Abyss and Master. I didn't know Master Commander was like that. And you know what's more shitty is like other movies that you think were good and they don't look right. Like for instance, I think I got Labyrinth. They fucked that one up, and then they fucked up The Last Unicorn. And like I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking good. They can always upscale 4K cartoons really good because I saw the Transformers movie and it was really good. And then like The Last Unicorn's all fucking shitty, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this. You're like shitting in my eyeballs. This sucks.
Yeah, there are some transfers that don't work out too good, especially if they don't do like
because they don't
go back to the original. If they do a transfer off of like a VHS or some shit.
Yeah,
like some high quality thing that they showed on TV or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, have you ever watched Star Trek: The Next Generation in 4K or and Blu-ray? They got the originals, and it's like funny because I was like, oh, that's velvet. I always thought that was just red. You know what I mean? Like it's that good. And I was like, oh, this shit is so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Star Trek on was it Netflix has been pretty good.
Yeah.
I got
and Amazon.
I got Akira on 4K, but it's not HDR. Japan got an HDR release, but we didn't get an HDR release.
Oh, what does it look like in 4K?
It looks awesome. I wouldn't buy it.
I wish they had an option for the original like voice actors.
They do.
No. Not the original voice actors. The voice actors that are now aren't the same voice actors that were then.
You mean the ones from the Sci-Fi Channel release? Yes, it's on there. I watched
No, it isn't.
Yes, I put it on. They have the new 5.1, they have that old 2.0, and then they have the Japanese 5.1.
Whoa. So
Ultra
Vash
Fast.
the Stampede is the voice of one of them in the newer version.
In the new one.
And the old one they have not Vash the Stampede.
No, right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I will buy that just because.
I think the
like
Blu-ray
shut up. Like when they're trying to make the voice work, it's because the mouth. They're like shut up.
Also, the general.
Shut
has
up. Shut up.
The general also has that weird giant guy, but not giant guy sounding voice.
Yeah. Oh, that gives me.
Talks like this.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps.
Can you control it like you did the last time? Like, no.
I think
now they have like the deep Lex Luthor voice.
Have you ever read the manga?
Nah, I've read one.
No, you know the movie. I feel the movie is better than all of the manga.
You know what? I was watching. I was watching like this behind the scenes making of that's also on this, and it said that the manga. They said the manga goes on forever, and if you try to put everything in the manga into it, it gets convoluted because they were writing.
It does.
They were writing like a monthly chapter.
Yeah.
So what the movie does is it kind of distills all the ideas down.
Yes.
And
yes.
feeds it to people,
it is because when you watch the movie, all the bigger ideas are in the manga, but they repeat them in different people. Like there's like the clown guy becomes the friend now, and now you got the trope of the enemies become buddies to fight a common enemy. There's a lot of rape, so like it's hard to feel sorry for a tragic character who rapes. You know what I mean? Although I could see that happening in real life, but like you can manifest the idea of power corrupts a person without going to that extra dirty level of rape.
Yeah, but a multi-year manga is different than a 2-hour movie.
I know, but the 2-hour movie, that's what makes it. Well, it's not 2 hours longer than that, isn't it? It's like 3 hours, I thought. Or am I thinking? Oh yeah. Well, it felt like long.
It feels
like
long,
yeah, but all the ideas are there. Power corrupts. You're a badass popular kid. You ignore your friend and treat him like one of the guys, which that's not what he needs. And it creates that dynamic. I mean, there's so much to that. It's so good. It's so good. And then like you read the manga and it does kind of just keep repeating itself over and over and over and creating other characters that do the exact same thing they did before. So like I have to say, whoever made shit back then figured it out. They knew how to take huge concepts and boil it down. And I wish that was a person for like Game of Thrones and all this other shit that's out there, distilling huge quantity of data and then kind of just, well, this is repeated here, here, and here. Let's just do it in this character.
We only got to do it once. Yeah,
exactly. And then you get the same message across, man. Oh man, that's cool. I might have to get that 4K Kira.
I mean, I am glad I bought it because somebody stole my Blu-ray. Right.
What an upgrade. That's a great upgrade.
so I was like, you know what? I was gonna buy another Blu-ray copy because it's one of the best sounding things that I have. That the best sounding thing I have, and I just watched it again.
Especially that first song, Doom 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 Doom
yeah.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
No. Did you know the people that make that? It's like throat singing. I mean, that's fucking cool. It's like a person. And it's like that's a person. It's
like beatboxing, but yeah, it's a
I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know it was a cappella. I didn't know that was a like I didn't know that was a thing. I thought that was electronic. In fact, no, it can't all be that. I don't know. I know it's a lot of voices.
There's it's mostly voices, but there's also like harps and shit in there too.
Yeah. God, that's such fucking good ass shit, dude. I like the idea that your main character, it's mind blowing. You gotta understand, in the 90s where we grew up, 90s and 80s, you had good guy and you had bad guy, and that's the way it is. Yeah. But back when you made Akira, you had a guy you followed who you want for him to win, and he wins, and he ends up becoming the bad guy, and the other guy who's cool is kind of like your hero, and they fight, and
But also the
it's a mess.
well the when he starts to lose control of his body.
Drugs. Oh.
And I remember feeling myself when I was watching it was like, how do they fix this?
Yeah.
Not the writer. Like I'm in the character. I'm like,
Yeah.
what
How do we go back?
If I were right, he accidentally killed Kari inside of him. He's killed all these other people.
Yes.
And it's like, how
do we become a good guy?
His body, even if he can control it, he's this thing now.
Yeah.
Would he want to continue? I just had when I was a kid, I had all these like,
oh yeah, dude. It blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand the concept of an amoeba having the power of a human while there's all those others amoebas. Right. What would that mean? And I was like, I didn't understand what an amoeba was, but I didn't understand the concept of evolution, right. Like he is that far ahead of us and we just don't understand it. And I didn't get that. And also the
newer translation does a better job of it. I don't know how, but I feel like the voice acting and the writing does a better job of get that idea out. Like how does it get so powerful? It's the idea of like an amoeba had the power of a person, when a person has the power of a god.
Oh wow, that's better than what I heard.
Well,
amoeba having the powers of a person. I was like, I don't understand that. But I get it now, but I mean, like that. But it also like it was him turning like the metaphors of him turning into a baby. Like I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Why is he turning into a baby? But it's like a metaphor for being reborn, into a greater power. Like, but they don't tell you that. You just. I mean, you. It's mind blowing, as a kid, you watching that shit, fucking dude turns into a kind of a robot baby, and like, what? And then everyone like dies, apparently. You don't know.
And up until that point, you had the Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Aladdin wasn't even made yet,
Yeah.
What did you have? You didn't have anything like that, It was just
that anime was that good.
You go into, there's a guy that does like a frame by frame breakdown of the motorcycle chase.
Oh,
but he breaks down the animation that they did. He also points out the mistakes, but they're like cell shading mistakes, so stuff like that. Like the painters fucked up.
It's truly drawn like beat for beat.
Yeah. And but he also explains, they're drawing. Yes, it was filmed at 24 frames per second, but they didn't draw it 24 drawings per second, right? Some drawings were every other frame. Some of them, it's a static scene, so they let it sit, or they just animate one part of it.
It looked more fluid, though.
What they do with lighting. They're like, look, to get this light to go across this, they had to repaint this in certain different ways. And then they accidentally put this chain here, and now you got to account for that chain being in the shot. And I'm like, God damn it. These fucking animators made their own jobs way too difficult, way more difficult.
Yeah.
Right? But the effect is something that looks way more cinematic.
Akira taught me some things, though, that I didn't know until later on, in the sense of the bigger picture, right? So Akira gets made, becomes famous, and then you get, from the makers of Akira, comes this Metropolis. And I goes to watch Metropolis thinking, oh shit, I liked Akira, good story, good animation, good characters. And you watch Metropolis and it's garbage. It's a fucking dumpster fire, I mean, it looks pretty. It has all the beats of like Akira in the sense of like how it looks, but there's no character development. It's a shit story. It's just terrible, and like that's where we're at now. We have people who've made these epic fucking things and from the makers of this, and then they just make fucking dumpsters of garbage because they don't know what they did. It's the people who made the shit in the beginning. They understood what they were doing. They're trying to make art. And then you make a sequel of something. You're not trying to make art. There's no heart. It sucks.
You ever watch any of YouTube's this guy, the Critical Drinker?
Yeah. Hey, me and you, we are in the same circles. It's funny.
he does this. He did this really good video talking about theme. You know, like how sometimes people lean way too hard on theme. You know, and they think, oh, well, this worked. You know, so this will be our theme. But he talks about, you know, it's the character development. It's the internal logic of the story. Do you fuck up your own internal logic by doing different shit throughout the story that doesn't make any sense with something you had set up at the beginning?
Yeah.
And I think he might have made this movie before Wonder Woman, because I think Wonder Woman is a great example of, you know, they wanted to have themes about, you know, like wishing and it being a shortcut, but then they also didn't follow their own internal logic of how the wishing works, or of how the powers work, or of how her losing and then gaining and then losing her powers works, or how Steve Trevor works. They just knew that those were things that worked the first time, so we're going to try and do it again the second time.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. That's, you know what? That's a problem with DC. Somebody said that too. A famous writer or director or maker of movies said, the problem with DC is that their characters are more based off their powers versus who they are as a person. And Marvel's thing is more about the person versus their powers. And I thought that was a very limited way of thinking, because if you read comics, it's not really like that. And but it does. Unfortunately, he's kind of right. You know, like Superman's a great.
Sorry, with the movies, yeah. No, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, with the movies, yeah, because like in you got your Spider-Man, and it's all about that character and what he does with the powers. Iron Man, same thing, and the fucking. So the only reason why Thor doesn't work is because they did a DC thing. It's more about his powers than him, you know, as a character. Until you get to Thor 3,
the second Thor movie.
The second Thor movie.
Yeah, because in the first one he kind of loses them, and then he has to figure out.
Yeah, but the trope of, I felt like that was more of a trope, because he needs to get his power back, but they linked it to, you know, who he is as a person. Whatever. Okay, cool. They ham-fisted that shit in. I agree, Bella. Anyways, so in Thor 3, they figured out the character versus the powers. It took second nature, even though they'd show more of his powers, but they created a better character. And I think that's the failing of this whole DC universe is with Superman. You're not really getting into him. You know what I mean? Like, you're not about this guy. Here you got a guy who hears everybody coming at once, and he can hear fucking people dying every fucking day, you know? And he has to tune that shit out, you know? And then, like, the whole movie it's cool watching him smash shit. I really like that. But the whole, like, to make a good Superman movie, I really do think that if they crack the case of, hey, you can't win it all, dude. Sorry, bro. And I think that if you could do that, you've made yourself an effective Superman movie. You made your Joker, you know? Yeah. And Batman too. And Batman, like, I swear to God, dude, they're fucking him up. Dude, it's not hard to make a Batman fucking movie. He is human. he will fail. And that's what you do. And it eats him up inside. And that's what you have. But they just make him fuck everybody up. They make him like Superman, but in Batman.
Well, I think the first two Batman movies got it. The first two Nolan ones got it.
Kind of.
Wonder Woman, I think Wonder Woman got it.
Well, Wonder Woman was different onto itself.
Yeah. That was like they accidentally made a Marvel movie.
Yes. Yes. Like they didn't crush men. They didn't create shitty other characters. They just made it a movie about a goddess, you know, a fish out of water, you know, like, oh, what's this? What's that? And then you got this guy who is, for all intents and purposes, the man, and he is fucking just done. Just fucking, like, there's a scene between him and this one chick, and he's just putting the moves on her, and she's like the bad guy, and he's like, yeah, and he's gonna get with this chick, basically, you know, he's gonna detonate her codes, whatever the fuck, everything, and then he sees Wonder Woman come in, and he's just like, it's like, but for fucking 5 fucking minutes, you had what's his name, Chris Pine, just throw it out. He was spitting game, dude. Actor, everything he did was perfect, and then they did another perfect thing, Wonder Woman comes in through the door in that beautiful dress of hers, and he's just like, and then she notices it, and then she's gone.
Oh, fuck you, boob.
And I was like, what a beautiful fucking moment. Another beautiful moment was when she thought she solved it all. I cracked the case.
Yeah.
I beat the bad guy as all tropes. And that was such a beautiful movie. I beat the bad guy. Shit, I won. Right?
Why are they still fighting? Why are they
still fighting? And then it's like, and like, Christopher Pine, from his point of view, he's like, what the fuck, man? This shit's happening. You beat that guy, but there's more. And then she can't believe that men are fighting on their own. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah, because it was her view was crushed. She was like, what she expected the whole movie, didn't happen. And what we kind of hoped for her, but kind of knew ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like that's Superman. Superman, I beat the bad guy. All these people die. Fuck! I don't know what to do. I don't have the know-how. Like, he can have a super brain, but he doesn't know how to do all of this. He goes, I can beat chess masters, I can do all this shit. But man, I fucking saved 10 people and you just killed 1 million, and I can fucking move a planet. Like, that would eat him up inside. And that's what they should have did from the beginning.
Yeah.
Would have been cool too if Wonder Woman and him got together with those kind of ideologies, and she could then kind of not nurture him, but like kind of guide him. And then you would have your powerful woman position, right? Her guiding Superman, right? I was there too. I thought if I killed this guy, shit would have been solved. And Homeboy's like, yeah, but like these people, man, like I try to save them, and there's this guy, Lex Luthor, he's just outwitting me and beating me. And
yeah, what did I watch? Days of Thunder.
Oh, that's such a good movie. God damn, that's such a good movie.
When Nicole Kidman puts him in check, and calls him out and tells him, there is no such thing as control. That we can't control what happens not on a race car, not on a racetrack, not on the freeway, and not inside of our own bodies. And you've gotten a glimpse of that, and you're scared. He's like, no, I'm not. And she's a doctor, she's educated, and she's checking this dude. She's not there to be saved. She's not there just to be pursued. She's there to give him a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, I'd never thought of it like, oh, that's a strong female character. No, it's just a strong character.
Exactly.
Now granted, she wasn't the principal protagonist, but you can write your protagonist that way, to have those qualities and that strength without having to blow up somebody. Now, she blew up Tom Cruise, not because he was being a male pig or anything like that, but because he was in denial. He was in denial.
He needed a reality check.
He needed that reality check.
They do that again in A Few Good Men too. I mean, she punches him a little, not punch like physically, but she's like, hey, you cannot fucking do this. And he goes, I can do this. And they just come at each other. And I thought, like, Demi Moore was like the first like badass. And like, I swear to God, dude, it's like they forgot that all the shit the 90s pushed out, like for progressiveness, got undone by our 2020,
And the cool thing is you even have like a male pig figure in Jack Nicholson in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? I just realized she outranks you. There's nothing better than, a woman that you could sleep with and still salute in the morning or something like that. And Demi Moore's not having it. She's just like still asking him questions.
Yes.
Still working within the rules of her job. And she could lash out at him. She has every right to, but she knows that that's not going to help.
Yeah.
Her
if you would have done that scene now, she would have punched him, and all the people of America would be like, yeah, queen. Because that's what we have now. Because Captain Marvel writes smile, and then she fucking steals his bike. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't create a moment. What you did was create a guy moment. That's what guys did.
Right.
You didn't create a powerful moment. Like, you're better than him. You're only better than him because you have powers. I mean, there was a lot of that Captain Marvel where it was like, I have the power now, and this is what I'll do with it. Be
Right.
exactly like you are, and because I'm a woman, by virtuosity, I'm better than you. And
I should get to do it now.
exactly. As opposed to just being powerful in yourself. Like Wonder Woman wasn't like, I'm better than all of you. You know what I mean? That's not what she was doing. She was like inspiring until you got to
Well,
1984.
she felt she had a better idea, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
that she was better. It was
Yeah.
like, no, there's this idea that I have of humanity, you know, of man. There's this idea that I have of humanity, and I don't believe that it's bad. I believe that there's this one entity that's affecting it, and I think that
Yes.
humanity is inherently good. But other people weren't having it, you know,
Yeah.
and that's, she could have been a guy, you know, and that still could have rang true. But I think it was more. I think this was a case where it helps her being a woman, because
Yeah, and in that movie, it was cool because she's a chick and she's doing things where she's not crushing dudes, and you had all these pigs, right? They don't mean to be, they just were.
it was just kind
And
of the rules of the time. It
Mhm.
was just the way it was.
and,
Yeah.
and she just takes over, and it's good. And then 1984 rolls around, and it felt like she was trying to write the same kind of thing, but it just fell flat. You know, it just.
I mean, I don't doubt that women get accosted, and even by the same guy, but those scenes were like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, in
And
Wonder Woman 1984, there wasn't. I don't think there was any part where. Oh, you mean that for the Cheetah Lady?
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is a Captain Marvel moment right here." I was like, "Oh, I didn't like it at all."
yeah, yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm going through all these different movies, and I'm like, I don't get it. There are strong female characters. I mean, it's not a new thing, but I think it's a new thing to put them in this context of the Me Too movement. That now the shoe's on the other foot, but that shouldn't be the way it is,
Of course.
you know,
Of course. Yeah.
because not everybody was treating women that way. So
Yeah. I hear you.
why should we be made to feel bad when we never prescribed to that idea of what the roles were, the gender roles.
What makes it worse is when you criticize it and you become. That's why I was like, WandaVision's
yeah.
crap, because I would criticize this show and they took it to places where a lot of these nerds, which I think are Russian troll farm people, I don't know, they're just like, "Oh, you don't like it because woman's main character and shit." Like, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Get
No,
the fuck out of here.
yeah, a
You
lot of
thought I
people
wouldn't
say
care?
that shit. Yeah, dude, a lot of people are just going that direction. Like, "Oh, it's because you had high expectation because she's a woman." And I'm like, "What?"
And then that's not, for me, it was the pacing of it. If anything, I liked Elizabeth Olsen's performance in it. I really did. I was enjoying
I'm not gonna knock her. She's a good character. You watch Wind River? That is a her movie, and Hawkeye's in it too. It doesn't hurt. I have to say, if there's a movie for you and your girlfriend to watch, you should watch that movie.
What's it called?
Wind River. They should have won Oscars for it. They're really good. It's simple story. Not even complicated. All the characters do exactly what they should do. Not like as in, Superman has to save lives. Just like, I could see this. These are
Okay.
fucking bad people. These are good people. This is the way it is. Everything's muddy. Oh my God. You and your girl should watch that movie. And then at the end of it, you'll be like, let's kill people. I don't know.
Okay.
There's some bad guys in it. Right. I want to murder everybody who's this person. So
Rambo. Was
yeah,
it?
no, dude, it's so good. It's so good. And it empowers people. Like, there's a part where this guy goes like, yeah, man, she did this. Let's see if you could do it. I don't know. I don't want to tell you. Oh my God,
Yeah,
it's so
I'll
good.
watch it.
No, dude, it's like movie of the year, dude. It's that good. Like, there's a lot of little movies that I'm watching now. Like, I'm looking for like movies that are not in the public eye. They're just like obscure, and like there's a lot of crap. But man, dude, you see a movie that's magnifique. Like, Synchronicity is pretty good. I mean, like they're out there. I can't watch these big budget movies anymore. They're just terrible. They're just trying to play on other shit that was good.
Yeah, and smaller budget movies kind of have to lean more on their writing, you know, and which means you're getting better writing.
Oh yeah. And then when you get a movie that's better written and better done, it's just like it's magic. It's like why we watch stuff, and that's where I'm at. Like I'm chasing that, like I'm a morphine addict. I'm chasing that dragon. I'm chasing that factoid, that thing in which I don't know, man, where I'm like, oh my God, this was such a good movie. And that's rare and far in between, you
I
know?
am curious about this Tom Holland movie. Uh, he goes in the
Yeah.
military and then I think he
Yeah.
robbed banks.
What was the devil? The devil's up.
It's
No.
some stupid name. They gave it a stupid name, Jelly Bean or something stupid, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
why do you guys do this? Give it something that I don't know, something. It's some stupid name. Like they're trying to be clever. I don't know, but it's by the Russo brothers.
Yeah. I
And
think they convinced him to do it, or he convinced them to do it, or something like that.
I don't know, but it's just those guys, they seem to be able to write things in a way that I like. I I can't completely nail it down. Like it mostly has internal logic, right? Like you said, the characters do things that you would expect the characters to make decisions that they were set up to make.
Yeah, I
And
always hate it when I'm watching something and then the character doesn't. Wait, a second ago you did this, and now
right.
why aren't you questioning it?
Man, shit. There was an interview that they did with the Honest Trailer guys, and they were like, "Well, when we sometimes when we sit down and write something, we ask ourselves, is this Honest Trailer's proof, or are they going to call us out?"
That's
You know,
awesome.
and that is because you almost have to look at things that way. Because when the audience is in that situation where they're like, "Wait a minute, didn't they just do this somewhere else? Oh, the writer must have done this to make this other thing happen." It takes you out of the movie. It
Yeah.
just pulls you out. But when the character does something and it works, it's actually one of those things where if you do your job well, you don't notice it. It just makes sense. You're like, well, yeah, that's what the character would do. But when the character does something uncharacteristic, it kind of sticks out and it reminds you that you're watching a movie and that somebody wrote it because they need something else to happen. And so they're having their character do something that the character wouldn't do. So I don't know. I mean, I always go back to Winter Soldier, man. I think that's the
Russo
solidest.
brothers.
Yeah, that was their debut in Marvel. um I watched Winter Soldier and I was like, this is different. This is awesome. And it's not making fun of me being a comic book fan or anything like that. It's taking it seriously and applying it to a serious, like, political thriller type thing.
Yeah,
uh
when Captain America 2 first came out, before I even seen it, like the trailers, I was like,
yeah,
this
what
is
could
good.
they do with Captain America to goody two
Because
shoes?
Captain America sucked, which at the time I said, if you go back and watch it, it's not that bad. It's not that bad of a movie.
It's good. I like it. I liked it then. I like it now. But Winter Soldiers,
It's like light years ahead. It shifted the entirety of Marvel Universe. Like when I saw Civil War, I was like, this is next level. This is where it needs to be. Because you watch Avengers, it's pretty good. It's good because you can see the who's who,
yeah,
everyone come together. Not Civil War. You get the Winter Soldier, and it's like shit just got real. There's a sense of like fear for the characters, like this
danger.
might
There's
happen.
danger.
Yeah, and then like after that, the trajectory of all the movies after that became so much better. Like so much better. Like all of it. Like even Guardians of the Galaxy, they fooled me with that one too. Like it starts to come out, and you're like, what is this?
And
Fucking
it's fun.
Marvel. And it was it was beyond fun. It was good. In the first like 5 minutes, if you aren't crying, you're not human. Dude, when he's like, just grab my hand, you're just
And
like,
he says no.
and he regrets that action for all time. And then they bring it back at the end, and she's like, take my hand. And I'm just getting goosebumps just now. I'm like, here's your mother that you didn't grab her hand, and you go and grab her hand, and you just by doing that, you have the power of a god, like you and like they all just came together. It was good. It was so fucking good. But like, I mean, damn, dude, light years from Civil War on. Not Civil War. I keep saying that Civil War is so good. Civil War is so good because I keep coming back because you get Winter Soldier and you're like, they can never do better than that. And then you get Civil War, and you're just like, when you see the soldiers dead, all of them, like it's all been leading to they're gonna get super soldiers.
Oh yeah, they're gonna fight against all these super soldiers,
and they're gonna take over the world and they're dead. And you're just
they're gonna fight against each other
or something. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, what? So what's happening? If the super soldiers are dead, what am I what the fuck am I watching? Because I thought it's like we're leading up to Darth Vader dying and he's already dead and you're going straight to Palpatine.
And somebody pointed out too, it's like Captain America doesn't lie. He lies to Tony twice in that movie.
Yeah.
The first time it's because he's trying to seem virtuous, he's trying to say, even though I wish I could, and he's all, no, you don't. He's all, yeah, you're right, no, I don't. And the second time is like, he killed my mom. Did you know? And he's like, I didn't know it was him. And he's like, don't shit me, or did you know? So, yes. And that's it. It's just like whoop.
He snaps. Like, yeah, dude. It was so awesome. Is like you see the Baron and the Captain America, they set it up, the music's kind of ramping up. And you're like, as they're interacting, I am like, at that point, I'm like, my heart is like beating, and I don't know what's gonna happen next because they just defeated, like, and it's not a complicated story, it really isn't. And you're just like, they killed the bad guys, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is this all for? And they're like, he killed it, and then what you just said happens, right? And then they get into like, let's fight, and you're just like, what the fuck?
The other problem was they had just fought. Then they made up, and you're like, okay, now they're gonna go back to being teammates.
Yeah.
And the reveal is, it's almost like this, right? You're there. You're there.
They
Tony's
make up.
Like, okay, I'm back with my homies. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna figure this shit out. And oh shit, no, this is even worse than I thought. This is something I can't put it down now. This goes straight to something that I've been dealing with.
Yes.
I didn't say goodbye to my dad, and shit like that. And this is the guy that fucking caused that.
Uh-huh.
And you're protecting him. Fuck.
Well, like Captain America knew in that moment when he lied and he goes, did you know? And he says, yes. He knows in that fucking moment, there's nothing he can say to deflate this situation. There's going to be a fight of epic proportions. And I love the fact that, like, if you read Civil War, the comic, it's not as good. It's not as good as this movie. The movie supersedes the comic, which is crazy. Which is crazy because we talked about this hundreds of years ago when this shit came out. They did Civil War. World War Hulk was about to come out, but Civil War was so much better and intriguing that they came out with that first. And then they came out with World War Hulk. But like when you read Civil War, it's good. It's okay. It's good.
Civil War was awesome. When it came out, it was awesome.
But then you watch this fucking movie.
You're like, damn, this had a lot more heart in it.
This had way more.
It was gut-wrenching because it was awesome action that you didn't want to see because it hurt. You knew Tony was hurting. He was hurting. It was like living through his parent. He watched his fucking mom get choked. He watched his dad get pummeled. Blunt force trauma.
And then it was like betrayal.
So it's like they survived the crash. Oh shit! But then he went and killed him anyways.
Yeah.
When all he needed to do was take what was in the trunk.
Yeah.
He didn't have to kill them.
No.
And then he's here. I have the power to handle it, but I gotta get through my friend.
But it's also like, this is so beautiful. The guilt of never saying goodbye, all the things you could have done. You have this power now, and you can never go back in time, even though you can later on. But like your friend betrayed you too. This has to fucking happen.
But it's not even that. He's been carrying this guilt with them since it happened, right? It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like maybe his dad, because his dad was drunk. Maybe he got drunk and crashed his car or whatever. No. His parents were taken before they were supposed to be taken.
Yeah.
So like if it was the universe decided, to hit him with lightning or to put ice on the road, that's different. But it's like, no, I've been carrying this fucking load because of you. Now there's a person that he could put that on. It wasn't just bad luck. There is an embodiment of where he can funnel his rage. And damn, dude, it was
As we're talking about Civil War, are you not replaying that last scene? Like in your head, you're just like, there's so much when they're fighting each other, that fight, that silhouette of them fighting was awesome. And then when Iron Man goes, let's take him out, and it analyzes fight, and then it means he could have took Captain America out at any time.
Yeah, that was Batman level type of.
But Captain America still finds a way to win because he's the ultimate human being, and it's just like, what the fuck, It's like the craziest fucking thing, and like, in the end of it, Captain America still is the hero that we want to be. You know what I mean? He has a shield. He could take Tony out, even in that heat of the moment. He still decides to take out his power, his person. Yeah, and then like, man,
it's another example of even when you win, you lose.
There was no winning. This was a non-win. Even if Iron Man were to win, it wouldn't have been a win.
Yeah.
So it was, everyone lost. And then like at the very end of it, Black Panther, how awesome he is at the very end, you find out that it was the Baron. That was his plan. He explains it, and you're like, wow, the blood in the water thing again. And then like Black Panther sees all this shit, and it's like, I will not have revenge. I will do better. That kind of bullshit. And I was like, wow, and
it's heavy ideas executed perfectly. I mean, nobody really acted out of character.
Nobody.
It was something that was established, almost like if they knew that they were going to do it in Captain America 1.
Mm-hmm.
Something almost like they knew they were going to do it in Iron Man 1. Yeah. The first thing he talks about when he comes back from the desert, he's like, I never got to say goodbye to my dad.
Do you think they'll ever recreate this kind of magic with something else down the road?
No, I don't know, dude.
Because like Lord of the Rings was really good, and that was an event, right? Kind of. It was pretty good. Like, I can't hold the ring, but I can hold you, Samwise Gamgee, whatever. But then this is a different level. Yeah, movie. We're talking about Civil War. We're not talking about Endgame. We didn't talk about Thor 2 in the sense. We're talking about Civil War. But then there's Endgame. there's Infinity War. There's like all these other little movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, all these other movies where you're just like, oh, and then it culminates.
Follow too. I think Captain America's. I'm intrigued by his arc because he doesn't really have an arc.
No,
he's the same person. He's
Superman.
He is the force. Yeah, he's the
Superman.
force that tests the people around him.
Exactly.
Everybody else kind of runs into him, and they're like, "Fuck, this guy. His values don't change. He's the same good man that they picked to be Captain America back in the 40s."
Yes.
But I think my oh shit, man. I think the busiest, funnest one to watch is Thor. I think his trajectory, all of his loss, everything he goes through, and then the scene that he has with Rocket in Infinity War, where he's just talking about like everybody he's lost.
But you're talking about a character through a franchise. That's crazy, right? What you're saying is crazy. Like, because you watch, like before Marvel people, before Marvel, everybody, it was Westerns. Hate to tell you, that was your Marvel. You had your good, bad, and ugly. You had your fucking Angel Eyes, Fistful of Dollars, and you had your trilogy, and it's nothing like this. Nothing, nowhere near that. Nowhere fucking near it. So, like, what's the next genre to take over? I don't know.
I think it can be Star Wars. I think it can be Star Wars. I think if they take their time, and really sketch this shit out.
You mean TV wise?
TV and movie wise.
Not what scratch movies.
It's a narrative.
I agree with you. I agree with you if it's TV because you've got your Mandalorian and those are fucking crazy good. Crazy good. And then you got your Boba Fett and you got your Ahsoka Tano, you got your Clone Wars. I'm only saying this because I just finished Clone Wars for the first time and I never watched the last season. And the last 4 episodes is literally a movie. And it's a movie like if you watch the last season of Clone Wars, it's kind of like bunch of shit. It's just a bunch of shit. And it's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. I'm not gonna lie, it's good. Then you get to the last 4 episodes and they start it like it's a fucking movie. Shit gets real. Like when you're watching Clone Wars, the first season, that last season, you're just like, oh yeah, it's fun. We're coming back to where we're at. But then you get to the last 4 where it goes the Phantom Apprentice instead of Phantom Menace, The Phantom Apprentice. And then you're like, huh? They do it weird. They do it like it's a movie. And it is a movie. And then for 4 episodes, you're playing right before it's setting up. Watch, it's like Star Wars 3 is right here. It sets up right there, right next to it. Then it sets up right in Star Wars 3. Then it sets up right after Star Wars 3, and so on and so forth. And it's that good. And I was like, and that's Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
Oh my God, dude, that guy, he did that before Mandalorian. And I watched that, and I'm like, and they're going to do Boba Fett. They're going to do Ahsoka. Yes.
That last season of Clone Wars came out last year, didn't it?
It did. But Mandalorian comes out. See, they had a plan. And you could kind of tell that Clone Wars was part of that plan. So when you watch Clone Wars, it actually comes out before a lot of this shit. And you watch it, and it's its own thing. But that's still Dave Filoni.
Could I watch the last 4 episodes of that last season? Just jump in cold?
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Wait. Watch Star Wars 3, then watch those 4 episodes.
Oh, fuck.
That'd be something to do. Or you can just watch it. But because I don't know about you, but I've watched Star Wars 3 100 times. So
I've watched it a bunch of times.
Yeah, so you could jump in those last 4 or 5 episodes. And let me think. It's episode 9 is when shit's like, what the fuck? Yeah, from 9 and on, last 4 episodes. It's when it goes like, boom, and it's all in red. It goes red, like Revenge of the Sith, and then it just keeps on going. And it's fucking good. It's about Ahsoka Tano, but it's not. But it is. It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. I'm not kidding. Like, I was like, what? And then, okay. So when you said, when I said, could they ever achieve that level? Well, I don't know, man. Mandalorian's pretty fucking good. Those Clone Wars are pretty fucking good. The guy who made Clone Wars is making that other shit. Russo brothers are attached to a lot of parts of Marvel to make it work. I think you could do it. I think you could do it.
I think they can. I think they could create another event, but again, they got to put in the time. Yeah. They have people from Marvel. They have a really good example from DC of trying to do it too fast,
Yeah.
And so I think a team up thing shouldn't be the goal. Just an all-encompassing narrative should be a goal.
I don't know. It's hard, right? Because you make Mandalorian your Iron Man. You make him the Iron Man.
God damn it.
Well, we'll see what they do with Boba Fett. They got Ahsoka Tano, and I think they're gonna do the thing. I think that this is what you do. You make your shit. You got your Mandalorian. That's its own thing. Ahsoka Tano, do your own thing. Don't add the other people. Just do your own thing. Make it tight. Make Boba Fett. Make that tight.
Yes.
Put them in there together. Then you get your team up.
Well, that's what made it cool watching Avengers back in the day, because each movie was its own thing. Yeah. Iron Man 1 was its own thing. Iron Man 2 was its own thing with ties to Iron Man 1. You had Incredible Hulk. Well, it's good, but I mean, it doesn't really apply, right? But you had Thor, which was his own thing, and Captain America was, and on their own, they had their own little stories, their own little narratives, and at the end, you smashed them together, and it was
Yeah,
like, oh shit, we knew they were headed there, but it was still kind of fun to see
for the
people from
first time.
franchises
Yeah.
come together.
But that was for the first time. We need more because you don't get Endgame just by throwing 4 different movies together. You had a culmination of stuff working its shit out. So to make your event, your Endgame event for Star Wars, you would have to make tight stories, really complicated characters, really deep, and like, yes, I want them to run, and then put them against each other, and then yes,
And have opportunities for the characters to go on adventures in pairs or whatever, right? Because you also had, like, Black Widow spent time with Tony.
Yeah.
You know, in Iron Man 2. Black Widow spent time with Captain America in Winter Soldier. She had been through shit with each of these guys. And then in Civil War, she's torn between them. She's like, fuck, I started with this dude. You know, the original dude is kind of out of the picture because Nick Fury is nowhere. And, you know, and I also spend a lot of time, you know, supporting this dude too. Who do I pick? Because I've been everywhere here.
You know? I don't think they could pull it off, honestly. I don't know. But if they do, I don't know. I didn't know I wanted an end game until it happened, and it's everything I ever wanted in cinema. I hope they could do it with Star Wars, because that Mandalorian burned a fire in my heart. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as I feel that if you got that Dave Filoni in there, I mean, that Clone Wars is just magical. Like that, that made Star Wars good again. It just did, dude. It magged the shit out again, dude. But NASA did. Make Star Wars good again? I don't know. It was really good, dude. I really recommend watching those last 4. Get some fucking beers in you. Just live it. Me and Seth were watching it, and I was like, is this happening? Like, I was like, it's this good? And also the fucking violence is crazy. Yeah,
now,
it's like,
here's why this is good. I haven't watched it. I don't know the synopsis.
You don't need to, though, to watch the old.
But here's the thing. We've watched episodes 1 through 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. We backwards and forwards. Mm-hmm. You know what happens. Mm-hmm. You know. We know what happens 30 something years later. And yet I'm seeing it through the fucking screen right now. You were into that shit. It wasn't like hey, I know what's going to happen. So I'm kind of just seeing, oh, how did we get here? It sounds like you were living that shit.
Yeah, dude. It was like I was playing chess. I usually play when I'm watching Clone Wars, because I watched most of it. I'm usually playing chess at the same time. And I'm like, but it was so good that I stopped playing my fucking game. I think I lost. And I was like, wait, what? What's happening? What? Oh, shit. Because I already know where it's going to go. But, like, it's like they gave the energy of what that moment was, right. The fucking relationships they had built up. And, like, I have to say, Palpatine's plan to kill all the Jedi doesn't seem like, you know, like a grandiose plan. But when you're watching Clone Wars, it is a pretty good plan. You know what I mean? Like 10 years of fighting like robots and all this shit, creating this relationship with these fucking clones. And what way to gather so much darkness in the Force than creating this like the best relationship is through strife. And he creates a lot of strife, a lot of pain and misery through this war, the never-ending war. And your best friend, the companion you know most, throughout thick and thick, betrays you. And like, that's the darkness that's there. And then that galvanizes Palpatine. And like, then you have other characters trying to pick apart the plan as they know it. They finally see what Order 66 is. In Clone Wars, they do kind of do a thing where the clones kind of like scratch the surface. They're like, wait a minute, what is this? There's a thing that's going to happen, but we don't know what it is. We just know that the clones have a thing inside them for all time, and we don't know what it is. So when you watch, and so like some of the clones actually know there's something wrong with them, but they don't know what it means until it happens. And so they're like, hey, you got to do this real quick, you know, and then it kind of, I don't know. It's they're piecing it together. But we all know what's going to happen.
That's where they're playing on your dread. You know what it is.
And
it's
sadness too.
It's like it's Shakespearean. It's that
it is
irony that you know something that they don't.
And that's the tragedy.
And that's where prequels work. Mm-hmm. It's if they play on that effectively, without giving a wink, the whole fucking time. It's and they're characters that you got to know over the course of the show. Yeah. Some of the clones are like main characters.
Yeah, they are.
And so watching them go through that shit, it's like, oh fuck.
It's cool too because like if you watch the whole entirety of Clone Wars, which is like 7 seasons, and they're like 26 episodes a piece. It's pretty long. There's goofy episodes, but they're not goofy as in they never happened. They're goofy in the sense like you have all these episodes and all these little fillers and all these little things that you did. It seemed like it was of a better time. And so there's this stamp of at the finalization at the very end of Clone Wars, at the end of it, where it kind of like fast forwards to, I would say our time, not our time, but the Darth Vader time. Okay. And there's like this sadness there where Darth Vader is kind of like remembering the good times. Cause like Clone Wars 7 seasons of good times. If you think about it, you're fighting the bad guys as you know it. And, just saving the day, like shit's happening. You're going on these crazy, wacky adventures, getting into one thing after another. It's like the golden age, you have a whole, and then at the end of it, you don't have that anymore. You won. There is no bad guys. You got this little rebel force, whatever the fuck they are, but you've won. And what's it all for, and killing children? Okay, I'm going to end this podcast with this one final thought. I had a thought that if they did, okay, so, when Anakin goes to kill the kids, right? I think that if you would have did a scene where he lets those kids go, but they still get killed by the clones, then you could have made that work because then, him killing them, it's too much. But once they get killed, right, by the clones, then you can say, well, I guess I am all in because he's like, oh, I gotta save Padme. Let me kill kids.
It's like, it's almost like when, in The Watchmen, when I'm talking about the movie here.
Yeah.
When it's the scene in Vietnam, and the comedian kills that lady. There's that pregnant lady.
Yeah.
And Manhattan's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, hey man, you can't say shit. You could have stopped me. You could have turned the bullets into bubble gum. You could have turned the gun into whatever. You could have stopped it, but you didn't, did you? He's basically he's complicit. If you're not doing anything to stop it, then you're part of the problem too. So fuck you.
What happens in the comic?
I don't remember how the conversation goes in the comic, and I've read
the comic is so long. It's like it's the movie is the movie is better than comic because it distills Akira. It distills a lot of the ideas and makes it work. Because in the comic, it drags it out long.
Yeah, and I like the end game of the Watchmen, that Manhattan was used as
opposed to some random octopus
giant. Yeah, alien. I like the idea of Manhattan having been there.
I was like, what? Wait.
Yeah. That's way better. I was like, that's way better.
Alexander Dumas made The Count of Monte Cristo, and that's a good book, right? But then when you watch the movie, the newer one, way better. They take so many liberties. They make it so like the main the Count of Monte Cristo is basically, a dude having a good life,
right?
Not a good life. He's poor and he finally wins, and then his rich friends like, fuck that shit. And then it gets him all framed and shit. And, comes back, he comes back all super powerful and everything. He's like, oh shit, I'm gonna kill all these people, get all this revenge. And then he, oh man, my girlfriend had a kid with this guy. So in the book, that's a thing, and it ends, he gets his revenge, gets with the girl. But in the movie, they're like, that's his kid. As it turns out, that's his kid.
I have seen the movie. I don't remember.
And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. You made it so that not only did you get the woman of your dreams, like
it also has to be his kid.
Yeah, and the kid likes you too. Oh man, dude, that's what I like is when the book is better than the comic, or the movie is better than the comic, because that's what The Watchmen was. It was way better than the comic. But I've read the comic back and front forever.
But to take it back to your Darth Vader, fix, it's just, it would have made him complicit, but not having been the guy that actually did it.
Yeah.
And that would have driven him like, fuck, man, I let that happen. I need to make it worth something.
Yes.
I need to make it worth something.
Yes, make the Galactic Empire an empire for thousands of years to come. And then
that doesn't have to happen again.
Yeah, and the fact that the Jedi, or the reason he uses the Jedi, he blames the Jedi. You know what I mean? As opposed to himself, because it was him. He's the chosen one. He's the one who needs to stop it, but he did it. And he thinks this is the way to fucking keep it going. But they didn't do that. They just didn't do that. So that's why. But Dave Fillion gets it, though. He makes it work,
Yeah, him killing younglings.
Yeah, dude, that's so stupid. So stupid. Like, but if you were to have a scene where he's like, don't do it, I'm not going to do it. They're like, or Master Anakin, what do we do? And he's like, he puts the sword down. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, and they get shot by...
You let him straight to us. Yeah.
And then he's like, no! And then he's like, all right, fuck. Like, we got to do this. And then, like, he's in it. He's all in.
Well, that's where the Emperor could have come in and just manipulated him even more. It's like, you know what? We don't want this to have to happen again. The Jedi corrupted these children, and we don't want the children to have to die or something like that.
Yeah, like.
And you're gonna have the power to make sure that this doesn't need to happen again.
Oh, dude, they could have done something where the Sith doesn't look like they get children. They get like people that are already like adults.
People, yeah, it doesn't have to be kids. They could be people.
But Jedi, they get them from children, and they get them into these fake wars. I mean, we just made a better Star Wars. What can I say? There you go. That's it. All right, man. Let's end this. I gotta pee. I gotta shit. All that good stuff. As always, if you like our podcast, please like and subscribe, share, make comments. I like those like long ass comments that you guys do. And as always, be the better person than you were yesterday. Don't be that person tomorrow. Be it today. That's the driving message of what I like to say. And always, head on a swivel and stay frosty.